Money, 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 money. Hi, I'm Felipe Drago, and welcome to Drago Drums. Hit the subscribe button and the bell to keep up to date with the channel, especially if you're following the series as it's being uploaded. This is the second episode of The Truth About Drumming. Today, we're talking about something that few musicians talk about: money, especially how much drummers actually make and what it takes to earn a living with the sticks in your hands. All the figures are in dollars and are current to 2025. For England and Europe, just think in terms of pounds and euros. For other parts of the world, it might be a little different. We've all heard stories about rock star drummers with mansions and amazing cars. But what's the financial reality for the average working drummer? Let's break it down. Buckle up because we're getting real about the dollars and the cents of professional drumming. And fair warning, some of this might surprise you. First, let's talk about the dream, the financial ideal that many aspiring drummers envision. In the ideal world, professional drummers are making serious money. We've got major record label deals with fat advances, sold out arena tours with per show payouts in the thousands, endorsement deals with top drum companies, royalty checks rolling while you sleep, and of course, the sweet drum clinic money, getting paid to show off and talk about drums. In this dream scenario, you're not just making a living, you're living it large. Custom kits for every musical situation, a drum tech handling all the grunt work, and enough financial security to focus purely on your art. And the best part? In this ideal world, the money is consistent and reliable. No feast or famine, no scrambling for gigs, just steady income doing what you love. Sounds amazing, right? And for a tiny percentage of drummers at the very top of the industry, this can be the reality. But for the vast majority of working drummers, the financial picture looks quite different. Now, let's talk real numbers. According to industry data and surveys, the average yearly salary for a drummer ranges between 29,000 and 58,000, with the average sitting around 33,000. That's a far cry from rockstar money, but it is possible to make a living. The key thing to understand is that drummers' income varies dramatically based on what type of drumming you do, who do you do it for, where you're located, and how diversified your income streams are. So let's break down some common drummer career paths and their typical income ranges. Session drummers typically earn between 40 to 70,000 yearly. These are the studio pros who record for various artists and projects. They're usually paid per session with rates ranging from 100 to 300 for indie projects, 300 to 500 for mid-level commercial work, and 500 and higher for high-end sessions. It is a huge advantage if you can record your drums yourself. The catch: you need to be incredibly versatile, read music well, and be able to nail parts quickly. Time is money in the studio, and producers want drummers who can deliver in minimal takes. House drummers, those working steady gigs at venues, cruise ships, or theater productions. Cruise ship drummers make anything between 24,000 and 60,000 plus room and board. Musical theater drummers between 24,000 and 120,000. Obviously, it depends where you're located. The West End in London and Broadway in New York are the highest paying places for musical theater drummers. And the TV show drummers that make between 36,000 and 200,000. These guys play at the late night bands in TV shows. These gigs offer more stability, but often less creative freedom. You're playing what's required, not necessarily what inspires you. Touring drummers have perhaps the widest income range from literally zero to 5,000 plus per show for elite drummers with major artists. When you're starting out, you might actually lose money on tour covering your own travel expenses for exposure. Mid-level touring might pay between 100 and 500 per show. Some national artists pay from 500 to 1500 plus per diems. Top tier major label artists in arenas might pay 1,000 to 5,000 per show, with the elite few making 10,000 plus per performance. Drum teachers? Well, we make between 28,000 and 60,000 annually because there are people who charge 25 per hour. There are people who charge 75 per hour for private lessons. Teaching can provide steady income between gigs and can be scaled through online platforms, group lessons, or clinic work. But be careful, clinics are a little bit out of fashion at the moment, putting it mildly. But who knows? They might come back in the future. Beyond the raw numbers, there are unique financial challenges that drummers face. First, inconsistent payment schedules. Unlike a regular job with a regular payday, drummers' income often comes in bursts. You might make half of your annual income during summer festival season or holiday gig season, then struggle during the slow periods. I call this the drummer's feast or famine cycle, and it requires serious budgeting skills. You need to make that tour money stretch during the inevitable dry spells. Second, business expenses. As a professional drummer, you're essentially running a small business with significant expenses. Drum gear and maintenance, drum heads, drumsticks, hardware, fixing things, transportation, the vehicle itself, fuel, sometimes flights, insurance, health insurance and instrument insurance, marketing, website, social media, studio space for practice or teaching. This can be quite expensive, not mentioning how much it costs to make it soundproof. And education and continued skill development. And education and continued skill development doesn't mean on the drums, means also for business and sometimes even a little bit of psychology if you teach. True. These expenses can easily run between 5,000 and 10,000 annually, cutting into your gross income. And third, there's no benefits package. Most drummers are self-employed or independent contractors, meaning no employer provided health insurance, no paid vacation or sick days, no unemployment benefits if gigs dry out. You need to factor all of these costs into your financial plan. So, how do successful drummers actually make a living? The secret is multiple income streams. Most working drummers I know combine several of these. Live performances, which is traditionally the bread and butter of the working drummer. Recording sessions in person or remote, a lot of opportunities for remote recordings. Teaching, private lessons, schools, online courses. Content creation for YouTube and social media in general, subscription platforms, you name it. Composing and producing. Yeah, there are drummers who compose and produce. My neighbor here in the studio, he's a drummer and he composes and produces for other artists. Merchandise, signature products, and educational material. Tech work. You can be a drum tech, you can be a sound engineer, you can do production. I know a drummer, friend of mine here in London, who's also a sound engineer. And side hustles could be music adjacent or completely different fields. But you need to do what you need to do. The most financial stable drummers I know have at least 3 to 4 income streams. This diversification protects you when one area slows down. For example, when touring slows down in the winter, teaching and studio work might pick up. Or when live music was shut down during the pandemic, many drummers pivoted to online content and remote recording. My income breakdown looks a lot like this: 60% teaching, 25% live performances, 10% studio work, and 5% merchandise and book sales. The exact mix will vary based on your skills, location, and interests, but diversification is key. Based on my experience and conversation with successful working drummers, here are some financial tips that can help you build a sustainable career. Live well below your means, especially when the money is flowing. Save aggressively during busy periods. Aim for 6 months of expenses in savings. Track all your business expenses for tax deduction. Invest in gear that maintains value or even increases value. Price your services appropriately. And this is very, very, very important because undercharging or undercutting hurts everyone, including you. Yeah, in the long run, it's going to hurt you. Get everything in writing whenever possible. Contracts protect you. Consider health insurance alternatives like musicians' unions. Plan for retirement. Yeah, no one else will do it for you. Remember, being financially savvy doesn't mean you're less of an artist. In fact, it's what allows you to keep making art for the long haul. The financial reality of drumming might not match the dream for most of us, but that doesn't mean you can't build a fulfilling career doing what you love. With realistic expectations, smart planning, and diversified income streams, it is possible to make a living as a drummer. What is your experience as a working drummer? Have you found creative ways to make money with your drumming skills? Share it in the comments below. In our next video, very important, we'll tackle the truth about drumming equipment, what you actually need versus what the industry wants you to think you need. Hit the subscribe so you don't miss it. Until next time, keep grooving and remember, sometimes the best things in life aren't free, but they're worth it. See you next time.